Good morning. Good morning. Am I audible? Am I visible? Good morning. Good morning. One second, I'm just setting up my preview here so that I know I'm audible and visible. Sejal, if you still can't hear me, refresh. I should be on your screens now. I have a preview there, I know. Good morning to all of you. Good morning. Yes, Pooja. Thank you for that. Okay, good morning. No issues, Prince. We'll revisit your school now. Last time when you did ancient India. But all that is too low level for UPSC. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Well, perfect, Chaitanya. We'll wait for 2-3 minutes and then we'll start. We start a new journey. Yesterday we finished world history. Today we start a new set of issues. Today we start from basic level of ancient India. Every topic I start with basic only, then I only go up. So it's not that there is basic and then there's advanced. We modulate in that way. Perfect, Shushmit. If that is the case, perfect. Grammatical mistakes also, Anjali, cannot be done according to schedule view. Perfect, Sanskar. That is even better. Modern evening batch today evening. Today evening we start modern. We need to study Homo sapien, Sachin. A little bit tangentially. We have to understand evolution. Perfect, Satya Prasad. Perfect. I'll tell you what about R.S. Sharma and all. That's a separate issue altogether. Wait. I'm waiting for everybody to join in. Before we start, I think it's the same batch, but still, some of you have never seen me. Is this anybody's? You've never world history we've done just till yesterday. Anybody who has never seen me doesn't know who I am. Most of you know me. I think 90% of you will know me because the batch is the same. Any specific person who does not know? Shweta is saying I don't know. Vanshika, I'll check. Let me check my own studio. It should show modern India from today. I'll get that sorted. I get your point. Yes. I'll get it sorted. Vanchika, don't worry about that. That will be uploaded most probably today morning. I don't know, old students. Okay. So I've given enough time for everybody to join in. Shweta, if you don't know me, I'm Abhishek Mishra. I teach history here, and be it ancient, medieval, art and culture, that is staple. Along with that, world history, and in certain batches, modern and post-independence also. And for you, maybe this is a new beginning in a way. Doesn't really matter where you start with me. All of them are in themselves complete, be it modern India, ancient, or world history. The point is that you have to trust me vis-a-vis the things which I'm telling you, specifically in ancient medieval, because this portion is extremely vast and UPSC is very vague in this area. So you have to actually be very smart in covering this area, because there are certain areas in which you can go and then get, in a way, totally messed up. For example, Buddhism, Jainism. Students tend to become extremely engrossed in it, get lost there, but one question will come. So you know, or you should know where you have to start and stop. And for that, I am there. Don't worry. And I have trust issues. Then Madhur, you have to trust me. There is no other way, because if you don't, then you have to study all of this yourself. So the point is, if you don't trust me, then you have the books. But if you trust me, the point is the PPT more or less is the base on which we will work on. I'll tell you that. But first, what I want to do is that I want to introduce the aspects of history to you. Now, as you know, this is not new for you. Ancient, medieval, art and culture, modern, world history, and post independence. We are now starting this set, which is ancient, medieval, art and culture. Now, previously, till last year, till this year, these two used to be purely prelims examination. On the other hand, art and culture used to be prelims plus mains, like modern India. And these two used to be only mains. However, if you look at GS paper 1 this year, you will see two questions which should technically not have been there but were there. One related to Vedic age, the other one related to geographical locations and ancient history. Those questions are something we automatically cover. It's not that you will never cover it with me. But the problem is that the students who are totally oblivious of my advice would have actually found it difficult. So in the in the prelims examination, this time history was very easy. In the prelims examination, history, out of the 15 questions which came, 16 questions which came, 9 or 10 were very easily manageable. Very easy paper when it comes. Only 2022 is the anomaly, when they became extremely optional level in that regard. 2023 was fine. Both PT and mains, they send a googly to the students to check if you really only watch YouTube videos. Because what happens is, most of the people who call themselves so-called experts will say, leave ancient and medieval, do only art and culture. This is a very, very standard advice which a lot of people do or give to the students who basically want them to commit suicide. They say that don't do this area, because what's the point? They will only be 5 to 6 questions. Do art and culture, and that will be enough, because mains and prelims you can cover automatically. But these fools forget one thing, that art and culture is not in thin air, hawa mein nahi hai. You have to understand the art and culture is of ancient and medieval only. When you don't know who are the Pallavas, who are the Cholas, what are the two types of Cholas, who are the Mauryas, what is post Maurya, what is Gupta, where is the temple, which who is Kakatiya, who is Vakataka, then what are you going to do? That is why most of the students, when they look at Nitin Singhania, they literally get a literal type of earth-shaking moment. Because Nitin Singhania makes no sense if you actually have no understanding of art, ancient and medieval. That is why I don't start the other way around. I don't teach you art and culture first. That would be the dumbest thing to do, which is first go ancient and medieval, create the base, and over which we do art and culture. So very simply, what I'm trying to tell you is very simple, straightforward. We start a 24 class journey today. Most of this month and certain parts of next month, it's a long journey. And in that journey, you will have 7 classes of ancient, 7 classes of medieval, and 10 classes of art and culture. The 7 classes of ancient, 7 classes of medieval, and 10 classes of art and culture, these first 14 classes are very critical to making sure that the next 10 are easy to do. So ancient and medieval, for the students who are utilitarians and who need to know how many questions come out of this area, 5 to 10 questions are coming. And this time the easiest questions were from the ancient and medieval only. Then you have art and culture, which in itself also has a set of questions from 5 to 9. But we mostly take it from 3 to 6. 3 to 6. So the questions which I am going to discuss through previous questions or ancient medieval art and culture, together this new set or module basically constitutes close to 10 to 12 questions, which is very critical for your examination. And over and above that, in the GS paper 1, you will get 3 to 5 questions out of art and culture. But now if we look at it, it basically adds ancient medieval. It also, we don't need to change our strategy. The way I teach you, you can answer any mains questions also, but this is PT oriented and will be remain PT oriented. But now one thing is very clear. I always used to say that when we are doing art and ancient and medieval, we should not be extremely factual. There's a lot to understand, and I will show you that history is not factual, it's logical. And if you've done world history with me, you would know how we go about it. The point is, ancient medieval theoretical knowledge, if you have, you can answer any question. For anybody who's giving, for example, Indian Forest Service, ancient medieval is actually in mains also. So what the UPSC actually did was they brought in this Indian Forest Service type question. But don't worry, I will make sure this is the area which most of the students don't want to touch. But I will make sure that you are extremely comfortable with this area and you understand it in the right way also. Thereafter, I will please ask you to remove the people from your life who say ancient medieval are not worth it, because art and culture cannot be understood without ancient medieval. Please be totally what we call as totally clear about this. It is suicide. And the point is, it is, I'll give you a very simple analogy of this. It is like understanding the history of India without understanding modern India, which is that you don't understand or you understand the history of our constitution without understanding the Indian national movement, which is that if you don't understand how we got it, then what's the point of understanding what happened after it? The same way, art and culture is extremely grounded in ancient and medieval. If you understand ancient medieval, art and culture automatically becomes easy and Nitin Singhania starts to make sense. So I'm giving you this advice very straightforward. Do not have to get caught up in these lies. Second, when I talk about ancient medieval, when I'm teaching you ancient medieval, see, the UPSC has been very vague. It has been extremely vague. As always, it has just written history of India. Now, history of India means that it can be anything. They have not given me a starting point. They've not given me an end point. So now it is on you and me to decide where we start and where basically, I know where the end point is, but the starting point is not given to me. Based on the questions and based on the pattern, I know where to start, but that is also in a way problematic because we start in anthropology in a way. I'll tell you. But it is interesting that sense. That way, it's actually very interesting. But when it comes to the prelim syllabus, UPSC is being UPSC, which is very vague. History of India is what is actually written. Now, with regards to the level, if you have endured world history with me, Tulsi and Prince, if you've actually done world history with me first, then ancient medieval level should not be a problem for you. Because world history is much more difficult than ancient medieval. And if that is something which you understood, then this should not be a problem. Over and above that, I will modulate in level also. At certain points, I'll be teaching you very basic NCERT level, but I'll increase the level to optional, then to academic, then bring you down. So that you leave to me. I will just say you have inhibitions, you have fears, keep them aside. With an open mind, start ancient medieval with me, and I trust you, or rather you should trust me that by the end of this journey, it should not be a problem. So very simply, this should be an area which you should know. It is important. I am telling you what is ancient period, what is medieval, that I'm coming to. that timeline I will tell you. But first things first, syllabus is clear and the concept of what we are going to cover is clear. Yes? Okay. Now, the $1,000,000 question. Yes, Shreyansh. The $1,000,000 question is books. See, these two are the new NCRTs. No, not this. These two. These two. This is the new NCRT. This is ancient. This is medieval. This is 6th class. This is 7th class. This is R.S. Sharma. Then you have the 12th class part 1 and 2. Now, these are the books in new NCRTs which are prescribed for ancient medieval. In every module, what I've done, unlike modern India or unlike world history, what chapter you should cover from that NCRT I have indicated. Because I have multiple books, I understand it will become problematic and not every chapter in that book is important. So I have indicated the chapters for you. And the module PPT includes all of this plus some other books such as Upinder Singh, which is optional level. So if you look at it, the PPTs itself are complete, are enough. PPT are enough. But I want you to go through the new NCRTs. That is the minimum you can do. And thereafter, R.S. Sharma is optional, which is totally your call if you want to do. You can also now for the first time substitute R.S. Sharma with my book. Because the book I have written has a one major advantage. Ancient, medieval, modern are in the same book itself. You don't have to go through 3 different books or 5 different books. And the point is that book has also been written with a very, very, very good perspective of a UPSC and an assistant professor UGC net aspirant. So very simply, the book, you need the name, is called UGC net paper 2 history, and you'll find it's by Pearson publication. You'll find it on Amazon. This is totally between you and me. There's no one else in between. If you want to buy it, you buy it. If you don't want to buy it, totally your call. And UGC net paper 2, this basically UGC net is the paper for assistant professorship. It's a bigger umbrella. UPSC syllabus is a subset of that umbrella. Now, when we were writing this book, a net perspective was brought in, but a UPSC perspective was also brought in. So it is available on Amazon. I think 480, 490. It modulates up and down as per the sales which are there. But if you want to, you can substitute R.S. Sharma with it. It will be exam oriented. All flowcharts, all timelines, everything how I teach, you will find the imprint of that in the book automatically. That is totally your call. You can substitute R.S. Sharma with my book. It's not approximately 600. It has come down. It's in the 480, 480ish, 470ish area. So PPT, new NCRT, UGC net paper 2 history, Pearson publication. The authors, it will show two. It will show two authors. You can write the authors of anyone. Shubhangni Priya and Abhishek Mishra, it will show. I am not sure Kindle edition is there or not. Discount is already there. Abhishek, already discount is there. Go and check, you will find it. If one of you can just send me the Amazon link, I'll make it public also. If you can find the book, orange colored book, it will be 2 authors. So this is between you and me. Because I used to teach every year and then I used to say that R.S. Sharma is not oriented towards, thank you Ambika and Deepika, thank you Srishti, that the examination, that the book are not oriented, The books are not oriented towards the what we have to actually study. We try to solve the with one arrow two issues, which is UGC net also has the same issue and UPSC also has the same issue. With Poonam, and please, one very important thing, very important thing. Though I'm an author now, I have nothing against anybody, but please stay away from Poonam Dalal Dahiya. The problem with Poonam Dalal Dahiya book is it's 489. Yes. The problem with it's a 700 book, it's already at 489. The problem with Poonam Dalal Dahiya is the facts are incorrect. The facts are incorrect. And the book itself is problematic. And as it is, you have to buy two books. Yes, there are multiple incorrect facts. She's using wrong terminology. She's shifting. She's talking about caste system in the Mauryan period. She has the problem is, though she would have cleared any examination, that is the problem with this peer. She has no background in history. So randomly she's picked up from places and she's written two books, one for modern and other for ancient medieval. But as a UPSC aspirant, you already have time crunch. One book, trust me, buy it, go through it, and I would like to know when you go through it once, I would like to know, do you like it, do you not like it? But that is a perspective I brought in. So R.S. Sharma is something which you can substitute by other books. In modern India, the most best substitution for Bipin Chandra used to be Spectrum. But in ancient medieval, there was nothing like that. And that is the gap I've tried to fill in. So I leave it to you. I leave it to you. It can be useful to you. That I leave it to you. I'm not forcing you to do it as it is. I have a interest in it. So I will leave it to your judgment to buy it or not buy it. So I can still say that if you don't buy the book, if you don't even read R.S. Sharma, PPT plus NCERT is fundamentally important. Are we clear with regards to the books? Is it covering modern India also? Yes. I will say the same thing in the evening also. Yes. This book will help you in modern India also. That is the point. That one book you buy, it helps you in all three spheres. Okay. Is there need to cover the full book? Obviously. Ancient, medieval, modern, you cover. See, the questions and the previous year questions, the mocks in that book is not of any purpose to you because they're net oriented. But the chapters obviously are very UPSC-ish. So you will find it useful, very to the point. I've tried to write in a different perspective, not descriptive, but very what we call as efficient way. So new pedagogical approach in which we try to not give you everything, but what is more important, having gone through 8 to 9 books, you condense it and make it one book. That's the basic point. How many pages is that book, sir? 616. But the point is not that. Out of the 616, there are questions, there are mocks, there are previous years. You can remove that. It will come up to close to 300, 400 pages. That's it. Okay. For art and culture, I'm in the process of writing. I'm going to give you an alternative to Nitin Singhania very soon. But as of right now, let's wait on that. Yes, ancient medieval is prelims oriented. Now, if we are clear about the books, if we are clear about the syllabus, if we are clear about the purpose, then can we move to what we have to discuss today? Are we on the same page? For anybody who is new, as it is, the book name is this. I've already pushed it in the group. The UGC Net Paper 2 History, Amazon, Pearson publication. Now, when we talk about ancient medieval, I want everybody to be on board here. 7, 7, 10. Are we all on the same page? Come on. We have discussed the syllabus. We've discussed the purpose. We've discussed the books. PPT plus NCERT is more than enough. Any other book you can substitute as a third major important book. Okay. Now, yes, sure, Sudha, you can use that. That is the way it is, Sneha. Okay. Do we need to mean new NCERT? Yes, new NCERT, because reference to NCERT in PPT is new NCERT. Old NCERT is nothing but R.S. Sharma. Okay. Yes, you can use online NCERT. Every NCERT is available for free as it is. Now, one of you asked me this question that what is this ancient period? Now I'm moving away from the fundamentals. Introduction is done. Anybody has any issue, you ask me here itself. Already told you, don't have to worry about the books. Once you've gone through these modules, then I'll ask you what to do with that book. Right now, anybody wants a burning question in their mind, because I want you to concentrate now. Is there any issue you want to ask me? Right now, ask me. So, Oshin, you concentrate on PPT and the other book. First, why we study? We study because ancient medieval comes in prelims, art and culture comes in mains and prelims both. Close to 15 questions, 30 marks, and there 5 to 5. There is a fun. There is nobody who's cleared this examination by leaving history. Okay. Should we pick facts from NCERT? No. Your purpose of NCERT is reading the NCERT, not learning from NCERT. Tell us the chapters daily. Pooja, I've already given you. Every module has in the beginning these. I don't need to tell you daily. Every module, you know the chapters already. If you want to revise them from the book, you can do it. Okay. Yes, Subhash. Yes, Subhash. You don't have to make running notes, Deepika. You just have to concentrate in class. Recorded lessons are done for new NCERT. New NCERT. Can we now come out of this book area? You will see you don't really need the books. PPTs are enough. But I have to tell you to go through the NCERT because UPSC claims to read the NCERT. Okay. Now, please concentrate. Your burning questions are over. Why are we doing it? Because we want to clear UPSC. Do you really need to do it? Yes, you have to do it. Third, if anybody is telling you leave ancient and medieval, leave that person. And fourth, very simply, this is a critical zone. Cannot ignore it because art and culture will not make sense without ancient medieval. And as it is, this is close to 30 marks, 30 to 40 marks in the prelims examination. And from the perspective of mains, even bigger, close to 50 marks. So nobody is going to ignore anything. How to use PPT, I will tell you first. Let me go through the PPT once. Okay. Don't have to learn from the NCERTs, only have to go through them once. Cursory reading is the word which you have to do. Just go through the NCERTs are available online on free of cost from the NCERT website. Don't have to, the PPT are going to come to you. The book which I have written, you have to buy it yourself. That's totally your call. And the RS Sharma is again available if you want it also in online mode. Everywhere you will find a PDF. But I don't want to do that. I want you to concentrate here. If you are here, don't worry about the books. Now I want to stop about the books and I want to start about the course itself. Satish Chandra is for medieval India, not for modern, not for ancient. Don't worry, Ganesh. PPT you have, concentrate here. Don't worry. Okay. Now, one of you asked me, what is this ancient India? What is the period in which we operate? And now that is a very important and fundamental question which we need to understand. See, because UPSC has not given us a starting point, I take the starting point when we start to leave evidences of our existence on this earth. And basically, the period is 2 million years ago, which is 2 million BCE, 20 lakh years ago, till 750 CE. Now, the problem is what this is BCE and CE that I have to explain to you first. So, when we do the 7 modules of ancient India, we will cover first what is called prehistory, then Indus Valley civilization, then Vedic age. Thereafter, it's called 6th century BCE. Then we go into Maurya, then post Maurya, Gupta, and post Gupta. Now, these words actually have no significance for you right now, but this is basically the time period. Starts around 2 million years ago, 2 million BCE, and post Gupta is till 750. Then we go into early medieval and then to medieval. Now, in order to first explain this timeline to you, I first need to tell you this concept of time and what is this whole BC, CE, AD, BC concept. So now I'm going to go into the basics here. You can read that only, Kausar also. Ah, PPT plus that book. Now, you would have gone through this in your physical geography. It's from the NCERT book itself. This is the table which gives you the geological time of the universe and Earth. So what is geological time? Geological time is very simply the time in which we have come into existence on this Earth, and it is the age of the Earth and age of the universe. So according to physicists right now, it is 13.6 billion years ago, or 13,700 million years ago, that the origin of the universe happened. Big Bang. But should I start my story here at the Big Bang? Should I? No, because there are no humans. There are no humans. So my story will then bypass all of these geological important, or what we call as anthropological periods, and come to here. Which is when the early humans appear. Early humans appear. But what you need to understand is that time is divided into different, what we call as values. So you have, for example, when you discuss any form of length, you have millimeter, centimeter, meter, kilometer. This is how you divide length of something. Same way you divide time also. So you have eon, era, period, epoch, age. Think of it like this, that this is basically kilometer, this is meter, this is centimeter, this is millimeter, and this is nanometer. That the biggest unit which we have of time is eons. Eons are billions of years together. Then you have several 100 million years, which is era. Thereafter, you have tens and several 100 years of million years, which is period. But the word which is important for me is epoch. 10 of million, meaning 10 million, 20 million, 30 million. When you have 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, it is called an epoch. The smallest unit is 1 million year, which is age. The word epoch I'm going to use with you, and that you need to remember. Now, UPSC still has left a lot of deciding where to start on me. So now I need to explain to you what is this concept of time and why am I starting with the early humans and what is the point of starting there. Now, first things first, I've done this exercise with you previously also. What is the significance of these words? These refer to geological time units. So the same way you have measurement units for kilometer, liter, milliliter, same way. So it's basically a unit of time. That way. So for we take time in years, but when it comes to the age of the Earth, you can't count in years because it would be a very small unit. So we count in the very big millions of years concept, and I'll tell you why also. Don't worry about that. Now we've gone through this process, but I want to do it again. It's 6:36. 6:36 in the morning. Is it written anywhere that it is 6:36? We've gone through this in Industrial Revolution also. No. The concept is there is no Akashvani, there is no natural impulse or natural input of time. Time is a man-made concept. Time is a man-made concept. And the most important factor in time is consensus. If all of you and you and me say that it is 6 in the morning right now, and we all agree then it is agreed that it is 6. If whole of India is ready to agree, it's agreed. And you see how time is so man-made that we have time zones. I could be standing here at 6:35 or 6:30, but a person in London will say, no, it is 1 a.m. or 1 in the morning. And a person in America will say, no, it is not even that. It is 5 in the evening. So if time was such a big constant and time was so given, then why would we have the same earth having different times? And it is about the people consenting. We are at what we call as IST, Indian Standard Time. The GMT people will have a different understanding. The Eastern US coast will have a different type of time. So the constant is the sun, but the sun is giving you geological time, dawn and dusk, but it is not giving you specific times. Now, why am I saying that time is a man-made concept? Because till this point, I've only told you that it was a product of the Industrial Revolution, what we see right now, this 6/11/2023. But the Industrial Revolution picked up on something which was already there, and it was a Christian understanding of time. See, the whole of history as we know it, there was a saint called Gregory. He's a Christian saint. And he was also grappling with the issues of sun-based time, and there were multiple attempts in working out a certain sense of time. So what Saint Gregory did was, he said that I divide time like this. 0 is the birth of Jesus Christ, which is Lord and Savior, and anything which happened before him is called before Christ, and anything which after his birth is called Anno Domino, which means in the year of the Lord. Basically, when Lord and Savior was here. And it is from here you get this concept BC and AD. But now the critical question which should come to your mind, and it's a very legitimate question, is where is the 0? Then where is the 0? And this is why this calendar which we follow today internationally is called the Gregorian calendar. Gregorian calendar, this concept of January, February, March, the concept of 365 days, and this concept of division of time, today it is not 8/11/2023. It is actually 8/11/2023 CE or AD. We remove that AD, but the basic point is this Gregorian calendar bases its understanding on this, that the birth of Christ is 0. So it has been 23 years since Christ was born. Now the problem in this is, I'll tell you what is C, then coming to that. Wait. Now the problem, first fundamental problem is, you will ask me then where is this 0? But the answer to that question is wherever Gregory thinks. Because time is a man-made concept. All Christians decided that it was 0 this year. Now the problem, it is 0. So from BC to AD, the transition happens when you cross 0, but nobody really knows. It was when Gregory decided that it is going to be 0, it is 0. So if you will ask me in what year was 0, the problem is we are already using the Gregorian system. So how can I give you a self-reference in a self-reference? You're getting my point? That because he says it is 0, then you say, sir, which year is 0? 0. Because Gregory says it is 0. And the only conception of time which you have is the Gregorian time. So it's like asking on what date is 8th November 2023. So it is on 8th November 2023. That is the biggest issue. We will, over a period of our course, see that there were other conceptions of time in India. We'll discuss Saka, we'll discuss Vikram, we'll discuss Gupta calendars. But the point is that the world and even the Indian constitution follows Gregorian calendar, though our national calendar is Saka calendar. But the point is, this is the concept of BC AD. Now, does the birth of Christ have any bearing on the Indian subcontinent or this concept of in the name of the Lord or before Christ? So, birth of Christ, we don't know. Yes, that is the point. Yes, that is the basic point. We know he was born. He was born at 0. Now you're asking me, where is 0? 0 is 0. You get the paradox in this problem, that you are asking me within the Gregorian calendar, the point where birth of Christ is. That is still 0. Now, yes, you're right that there is no bearing on this before Christ Anno Domino on India. And this is what the historians also felt, that this is a very charged religious way of saying time. So what they did was that they substituted nothing more. They substituted the word BC and AD with new words, which is common, before common era and common era. BCE, CE. The concept is exactly the same. It's just that they tried to make it a little bit more secular by removing before Christ and Anno Domini. Shank will talk about that. We'll talk about that, why we use Vikram for Hinduism and Saka for national calendar. That's separate issue altogether. Gregorian calendar is accepted internationally. Yes, it is the only calendar which is accepted internationally. Gregory was a guy who was born there. Again, how Gregory knew? Wait, see, that is the point. Gregory did not knew. He just arbitrarily put that 0 somewhere. But we don't know if he's right or not. Circa means circa, this C small. Circa means approximately. That's a archaeological term for approx. So, see, we are not here to question the fundamental reality of this world. You and me are too small to do that. But I only want one thing. Why do we use Vikram? Why do we use Saka? Why do we use this and that? We will discuss when we'll reach there. You have no idea what is Vikram, then now you're asking me why don't we use it? Let me do that. Russia used to use Julian calendar, a Julian saint, but they have also moved to Gregorian. Now, please listen to me. Time is a man-made concept. Whatever I'm telling you, you need to know. Time is a man-made concept. Saint Gregory developed a concept of before Christ and Anno Domino. That's called the BC AD concept. Historians found it religiously charged, so they changed it into BC and C. Very simply, 0 is considered when Christ was born, and everything before him and after him is timed the way it is timed. Now, this is not what you really need to know and understand. What you need to understand is, in the examination, they can sometimes remove this BC and C. But you should be able to know, is it BCE or C, because there's a catch. Why people have obsession with Gregorian calendar? Because Britain used to use it, and therefore the colonial structures and westernization of the world has led it to. So please again, the emotional nahi hona hai iske upar. You all are becoming emotional. Why do we use it? We still use it. So what can you do about it? Fundamental, don't get caught up in something which really doesn't matter. So yes, it is a colonial construct. Everything which we do is a colonial construct. The clothes I'm wearing is a colonial construct. The language I'm saying is a colonial construct. The institutions which we use are a colonial construct. Democracy as we use it is a colonial construct. So don't worry about that. Everything around you is a colonial construct. That is not the point we are here for. The point is that in the examination, you should be able to, or basically when you write a art and culture answer, you should be correct in writing B, C, and C, because there's a catch here. Can I discuss that catch if all of your emotional outburst is over? Okay. Now, See, what is more important to you and me is how they place this whole concept of BC and C. And if 0 is here, BCE and CE is here, it basically works like a number line. It basically works like a number line. Here it is like negative, and here it is like positive. Why am I saying it? Because a lot of students, when they see a mains question, when they see a prelims question, they can't understand one thing. Why is that it is written like this? Or it is written like this. This makes no sense because the bigger value is first and the smaller value is afterwards. And the reason is these are dates in BCE. In BCE, the more closer you are to 0, the bigger that value is. How? -3 is a bigger value or -1? The scientists and engineers in the class. -1. So that ways, what happens is that 2000 BCE and 1000 BCE, which is the closest to us? Which is the closest to us? 1000. Because it is somewhere here and this is somewhere here. And if I write 300 to 500, then we are in CE. Then we are in CE. Yes, you can interchangeably use BC and C. That everybody does. You can write BC also here. But I tend to not do it because we have nothing to do with Christ. So 300 to 500, what I mean to say is there's a thumb rule. The thumb rule is higher, lower, it will be BC. Lower, higher, it will be CE. One more thing, tell me one thing. If I'm at 1500 BCE and if I'm at 1500 CE, how many years are in between these two? How many years are in between these two? Very good. 3000. Basically, I came from 1500 till 0, that is 1500 years. And then from 0, I went to 1500 years. So I add both of them. I add both of them. Now, basically, today, as we are today, we are 2023 years away from that 0. And if you can remember this thumb rule, you will never ever write the wrong dates in the examination. Because this is something which everybody should know, which is the concept that if you have, for example, 10,000 to 5,000, this has to be BC. And if it is 100 to 200, it has to be CE. This is a very important concept you need to understand. Anybody has any issue here? No? Now one of you asked me, then what is the timeline of history? I'll give you a very simple snapshot of it. See, sir, in common era, concept of 0 is the same. Yes. Everything is same. Naam change kar diya. That's it. Why do we say 1 year ahead then? Who said that it is 1 year ahead? I don't do that. That number line thing, +1, I don't care about it. It's not a CSAT question. We don't do that. We say if you are in 1500s, you call it 16th century. That is 1 plus. I don't know where you're adding that +1. Not a maths problem. Okay. What do you mean by 500 to 300 BC? That you are 500 years away from 0 to 300 years away from 0. That is the point. That is a period of 200 years before the birth of Christ. I'll give you some. Again, don't go into the Christ thing, Chile. Some places we see after Christ. What I'll tell you. See, the problem is you remove that Christ from your mind and you just listen to this. See, Indian history, if I have to give you the timeline, you will understand it like this. 2 million BCE to 10,000, then 10,000. I'm giving you basically what we have to cover in ancient India, but now with dates. And you will then realize how this time is divided. Because it's a Gregorian thing, but still we use it in this way. That is why we use the Gregorian calendar, but for our own periods, so that we can align our civilizations with the world, because the world follows it. Okay, century calculation is very straightforward. If you are in 1400, it is called 15th century. Whatever the number is, one forward. We are in 21st century. Are we in 2100? Use it, remember it like this. Are we in, no, na, we are in 2023, but we call it 21st century. One forward. So if we say 500 BC, it means yes. If I say that 500 BC, how far is it? It is 2023 plus 500. Yes, 2523 years ago. So that period is 2523 years ago. Yes, that is the way we calculate it. So you see 10,000 to 4,000, then 4,000 to 2,600, then 2,600 to 1,700. Millennia is not 1,000. It's 100. It is 1 lakh. 1,500 to 500, rather. 1 century is 100 years. इतना मुश्किल नहीं है. Century, Kohli is hitting century after century. What is 1 century? 100 years. First century would be 0 to 100. And nobody is asking you to write these things. I'm telling you how to read history. This thing is something which I cannot also do, but I want you to understand history, and then you will understand the logic of it. Okay. After 700, write down 1,500. Where 200 gone? I will tell you that. Good question. Trust me, whatever I'm writing it very strategically. So that 200 years has gone somewhere. I will tell you where it has gone. Okay. You have see, this is called Paleolithic. This is called Mesolithic. This is called Neolithic. This is Indus Valley civilization. This is Vedic age. And this is called 6th century BCE or Mahajanpadas. This is the period of the Mauryas. Thereafter, this, you see, in Indian history, the transition between BCE and CE happens when we move away from the Mauryan period. So this is called post-Maurya. And this is basically the year of Kushanas. So from Shakas to Kushanas, the transition is where we transition from the what we call as BC to CE. Thereafter, this is again Kushana, Satvahana. This is Gupta and Vakataka, and this is post Gupta. This is basically what we have to cover. This is what we have to cover. How centuries are again, you all are getting how centuries are calculated. What century is 100 wherever it is calculated. The point is that 5th century CE and 5th century BC is more or less the same thing. The difference is how you write it. 5th century CE, 5th century BCE would be 500 to 400, and rather not 400 to 500. Yes, 500 to 400 only. And this would be 500 to 600. That is the difference. Because it's the reverse, that is why. But doesn't really matter. You don't have to get caught up. Chola, Pallavas, all are post-Gupta. So very simply, please understand this point. It's not called, it's a name. It's called 6th century BC. It's a name, though it starts in 500 only. The point I'm trying to argue here is, please don't complicate something which is not complicated. Please don't do that. So very simply, what I'm trying to argue is, this is how our history is divided. BCE to C. Transition comes between BC and C like this. What is the concept of BCC is lower, higher, and I don't care if century, millennium makes sense to you or not. Because what you're doing is you're complicating something which is not complicated. Century is always calculated one forward, but it will become one reverse when it is in BC, because BC works like that. But I am not asking you to do that. So concentrate on what I'm telling you, because this is literally BA honors level I'm teaching you. I could have done without it, but I'm telling you because this is something critical for the examination. Indus Valley Civilization. I've not taught you anything. I'm just giving you a taste of it. One of you asked me, what is ancient India? This is ancient India. And this is how we divide time. It is Kushanas, Satavahanas, Gupta, post-Gupta. So are we clear with regards to the concept that what is BCC, higher, lower, BCC, calculation and syllabus, and what we've done till this point? I've not taught you 1 ounce of anything. What I want you to understand is very simple, straightforward, that this is how we are, because students never understand what is BCAD. This is all an arbitrary concept. If you are actually clear about it, all of this is made up. All of this is made up. Were they actually in that period? Nobody knows. But this is how the historians divide it. This is how Gregory divided it. That is under Gregorian calendar, we do it like this. That is the simple point. Where is it? Is it there or not? These are fundamental questions which question the Gregorian calendar, but calendar is calendar, we follow it. So can we now start our syllabus if we understand what is the concept of time? In the examination, in Nitin Singhania, next time when you read Nitin Singhania, notice the dates. Notice the dates. And why am I telling you this? That 200 years is called Aryan migration. I will tell you that. Don't problem solve something which is not a problem. I will tell you that. So that period, this gap which you see here is the alleged Aryan migration. So there is no history for that period, because history is written by sources, which I'm coming to. So please understand this point. 300 C will be referred as 4th century. 300 CR, the point is 300 will be called 3rd century only. 301 to 399 will be 4th century. Then 400, then 401, it's like that. But doesn't really matter, you take it. 300 C is 4th century. And 300 BC is also 4th century. Acceptable? 1 plus is century. Anybody has any issue in that? Now that century is gone. We don't know even who was Aryan. Anjali, let me tell you that. Don't tell me who are the Aryans. There is a lot of evidence who are Aryans. So don't move. See, I want patience from you. First, all of you said in the first 10 minutes, we don't know history. And now you're telling me history. These are two very contradictory things. So I told you, remove your preconceived notions and your understanding, because most probably it would be based in school level history. School level history is mostly, all of it is just an eyewash. It's just simplified history so that a 6th or 7th class student can understand. That's the only thing. Yes, we are. That is why Vanshika in 21st century. 21st century, 2023. Yes, 21st century. You all are born in 21st century. Okay. Hitler insisted we are Aryans. Kishan, were you there with me in world history? You first tell me this. Were you there with me in world history? Kishan? Yes or no? Then didn't I tell you that Aryan concept was distorted by Hitler to create it a racial concept? Again, you're telling me that Hitler said it is racial. Wait, yaar. Come on. Wait. Now that we understand time, there's also one more way in which we divide history, which is called, and this you would have seen, prehistory, proto-history, and history. Again, I'm telling you this for a very simple reason. The reason to tell you time is that 800 BCE and 800 CE are very far away. That is why I'm telling you this, because the question changes by 1 BCE and CE. So one is asking you about the Vedic, and the other one is asking you about, very simply, the Turkish invasion. So there are two very different things, 1600 years apart. That is the reason why I'm telling you in history these small things matter. Now the other way we divide history is also in 3 terms, and you will see this word prehistoric. And again, students don't know where does this prehistoric start and end, and they write the wrong answer because they don't know the word itself. Now see, history is based on sources. History is based on sources. And if you don't have a source, you don't have a history for it. There are 2 types of sources which are there. One are called archaeological, and the other one are called literary. Archaeological sources are material sources. For example, monuments, sites, artifacts. If today this building collapses with this vacuum, with this pen, with this bottle, and after 10,000 years, somebody excavates this area and they find this vacuum, this pen, and my bones, and this what we call as a pen. These are called archaeological facts. These are called archaeological evidences, artifacts. They are the material remain of the past. Material means have physical form. There are 2 more types of archaeological sources, which we'll discuss in art and culture also. One are called coins, and the other one is called inscriptions. But for the inscriptions to exist, there's a precondition. Coins are nothing but called numismatics, and this is called epigraphy. Epigraphy. Numismatics is the study of coins. Epigraphy is the study of inscriptions. However, coins and inscriptions can only exist if the other type of source is available, which is literary. Literary is when there's a language, we know that language, and we also know the script, and we have texts and literature. So archaeological sources are sources which basically are material remains, every physical thing which you see. Manuscript is the original copy of a text. Inscription is a text which is engraved on a certain surface. But the point is inscriptions and coins are archaeological evidences which come up only after literature has come up or script has come up. So we may have a language, but understanding that language is also important. Now 99% of all history which we know, 99% of all history which we know is prehistory, where we only find material remains or archaeological sources, no text, no literature, which means that then it means no coins and inscriptions also. Proto history is when we have archaeological plus early writing. So we may have a script, but it may not actually be deciphered. And history is when we start to get literary sources. Now I've been using this word script and language. There's a difference between these two words. Understand this point again. Script is the way you write something. A very simple example of this is this. This is Devanagari script. This is Roman English script. And language can be written in multiple scripts. This is Hindi language. Language is the phonetical system. The sounds I'm making from my larynx is the ones which basically produce language. But how you write that language down is script. So one language can be written in multiple scripts, and a single script can be used to write multiple languages. So the way you write it is script. The way you say it is language. Now in Indian history, from 2 million BCE, from Paleolithic to Neolithic and certain parts of Chalcolithic, which I will discuss with you, they all are prehistory. The only proto-history period is Indus Valley civilization. Because we have a script, but we've not been able to decipher it. We don't know what they said. And from Vedic period onwards, when you start to get the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Sam Veda, and Athar Veda, we go into what is called the early historical period or history period. Now, why am I saying this? Because in your topics, in your art and culture, there can be a question, discuss the cultural contribution of the prehistoric period. Now, what students do is that they start to write about Indus Valley civilization. That is not Indus Valley civilization. It will start with the prehistoric period, which is Paleolithic to Chalcolithic. So till this point, again, I am just creating context for you. All of this is Bhumika. All of this is your theoretical knowledge in order to make the transition better and in order to make the transition worthwhile. This is all which I used to teach, or you will be taught if you do honors level history, which is understanding these terminologies. So since the beginning, since the morning, we've done three things. We've understood the syllabus, we've understood the concept of time, we've understood the division of time according to BCC, and we understood the division of time geologically, and we've understood the concept of time in the way of words, prehistory, proto-history, history. Are we all on the same page with regards to that? If we are, then we move to now moving towards the early humans and the discussion with regards to Paleolithic. Yes. Okay. Everybody needs to say yes. It's the morning. Akula, other types of calendar, I will tell you when we will reach there. Post-Mauryan calendars make sense when we do post-Mauryan. If I say to you that Vikramaditya defeated a Shaka king, it is literally words for you. So let me reach there first, right? Okay. We've done script. We've done the geological time. or rather we've done division of time according to history, we've done the basic timeline, and we've done this concept. Now I'm starting the division, or we starting basically Paleolithic. This is from where till this point everything was context. Now you are theoretically there to understand what I'm going to say from this point forward. Now the question is, UPSC did not say where to start. UPSC did not tell me where to start. So I need to start somewhere for sure. So I enter the story and I take you with me into that story just before we start to create evidences of our existence. See, what are we? What are we? What are we? We are not monkeys. We are not monkeys. We are the same family. We are humans. But we have a technical name. What is that technical name? Humans is the larger word. We are called Homo sapiens. We are called Homo sapiens. This Homo word is basically the family which come out of hominid. Hominid means human-like. It's a scientific word, yes. This is anthropology. For students of anthropology optional, they would know. Basically, this is called human evolution. Darwin. Now, Homo sapien means that it's not that we fell from the sky and we came up like this, which is Homo sapiens. No. We have evolved over the evolution of the earth itself, which is that as the earth was evolving, life was also evolving on the earth. And we see our ancestry linked to the chimpanzees and apes. Hominids means human-like. We link ourselves with the apes and chimpanzees. And if you've ever seen, for example, a gorilla, or if you've ever seen a chimpanzee, not monkeys. Monkeys are different family member of the same species. We are very similar in that sense. So we started, and you don't have to learn this, so I will not write it down. We started as the first family which we belong to is apes and chimpanzees. Then it becomes a very interesting word. It's called Australopithecus. This is our second family. From ape and chimpanzees, we become Australopithecus. Don't have to remember this. Australopithecus, there are multiple types. Ghari, Afarensis. And it is the Australopithecus which then evolves into the first human species, which is called Homo habilis. So the first member of our family is called Homo habilis. We are Homo sapien. First member of our family came out of Afarensis, which is the Australopithecus afarensis. He evolved. There's a controversy. It's Afarensis or Ghari, but it is Australopithecus family that becomes Homo family. So we are branching out. We are ape, chimpanzee, and then we become Australopithecus, and then we branch out of Australopithecus to become Homo. So understand this point, that we are branching out. And this branching out is basically how evolution happens. So from the apes and chimpanzee, you get modern apes also, modern chimpanzee also, Australopithecus, that becomes extinct after a point. Homo then branches out. You have Homo habilis, then you have Homo erectus, and then you have from Homo erectus, Homo sapien. This is how evolution works. So our first member of this family is called Homo habilis. The name itself is indicative of its most important feature. And again, Australopithecus is a name. Shoaib, your name is named Shoaib, so it's Australopithecus. Please, these are questions which are technical, anthropological, but this is what is it is. It's a name. Australopithecus is the name which is given. So Australopithecus family leads to the Homo family. Leads to the Homo family. Now, I don't care about Australopithecus. I've never cared for them. I care about our own family, which is Homo. Now, Homo means, as I said, what Homo denotes. Listen to me, Sachin. I've just indicated it here. Homo means hominid, which is human-like. But doesn't matter. This is out of syllabus. When it will come into syllabus, I will tell you. So, Homo habilis had a very important feature. Though he did not stand straight and still had what is called a curved, what we call as a spinal cord, and it used to walk on both its legs and its hands, how gorillas walk, which is they put their fists on the ground and they walk like that. But the Homo habilis had very important feature, which is it had thumbs. It has thumbs. The word habilis comes from the word handyman. Basically, the thumb which you see here, this was never divided previously. Australopithecus used to have thumbs like this, in which the thumb used to be, this bone used to be not separate, but part of your hand itself. Now try to, if something is around you, make your hand like this and try to pick up something. Try to pick up something. If I try to pick up something like this, I won't be. Even if that I'm picking up like this and then give it to my hand. If I try to pick it up, it will be extremely difficult. So dexterity and grip only comes when you have a thumb. But Homo habilis, the problem was that Homo habilis, we only have found skeletons. So it is very hard to study Homo habilis. I am trying to come to a point to tell you, and I'll tell you the purpose already. We study Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. The word itself means stone tools. Early stone tools or old stone tools, Paleolithic, middle to stone era, and new stone era or stone age. Old, middle, new. But why is that we study tools? Because tools are a very important and the only way we can understand our early history. So Homo habilis did not leave too much things for us to analyze, only except for its skeletons. But over a period of time, Homo habilis developed a very important change, and that was to have an S-shaped spinal cord, and that made it Homo erectus. Homo erectus. For the first time, we became bipedal, which is using the fluid in our ears, we were able to balance ourselves on two legs. And by standing on two legs, what do you free up? By standing on two legs, what do you free up? Hands. And when you start to free up your hands, now you can do things. So you are standing on S-shaped. You have a S-shaped spinal cord. So Homo erectus is a major breakthrough. And it is from here, this point, that our history starts. Because Homo erectus started to develop tools. Tools basically are rocks which were manipulated to create certain, what we call as tools or certain devices which could be used to assist them in hunting or gathering. But the problem with Homo erectus was that its size of brain was a little bit small. And what differentiates you and me and from a Homo erectus, which is the next, is Homo sapien, is basically called cranial capacity. Cranial capacity is if today I take your skull, break it, open it, fill it up with water, what will I get? Area or volume? I'll get area or volume? I'll get volume. Basically, cranial capacity is the volume of your skull, and it is calculated in cubic centimeters. So it's called cc. Your bike, your cars are also calculated like that only. 1500 cc, 200 cc, 300 cc, 150 cc, cubic centimeters. Now the point is the way we evolved is that our jaws became smaller. This jaw became smaller, but our brains became bigger. Our brains became bigger. So you can see that if I look at a gorilla, or if I look at this point, which is from where we start to evolve, the jaws are very big, but the brain is very small. And what differentiates us from Australopithecus is also this, which is brain size is very small, jaws are big. But as you move towards Homo sapiens, from Homo erectus and Homo habilis, Neanderthal is also Homo neanderthal. You see here, Homo neanderthal. The point is, our brain size is changing. Now, what is the size of your khopadi? It is 1400 to 1450 cc. If I break your head right now, it will come in between this only. 1450 cc. And Homo erectus used to be close to 1200 cc. And habilis used to be close to 800 to 900 cc. Yes, 1.4 liters. Now, the question which you say sometimes ki sir, do I have a small brain? Mera dimag chota hai? Nahi. Everybody has the same brain. And when your parents or your relatives say to you that you have a small brain, tell them, no, I am a Homo sapien. I have 1.4 liters, 1400 cc. So that can't be. Now, the question is why? Why am I linking cc with our evolution? And the reason is there is a relationship between cognitive ability is directly proportional to cranial capacity. See, meaning cognitive ability is the understanding of grasping power, memory, and problem solving. This ability is your ability as of right now. Cognitive ability means how do you understand your surroundings? So Homo habilis, because he had a small brain, had the hands, but did not know how to use them because cognitive ability was very low. Homo erectus, still they had not reached that sweet spot where our cognitive ability becomes so big that we have the power to destroy the earth itself. And the sweet spot for humans vis-a-vis their size is this 1450 cc. As soon as we reach 1450 cc, cognitive ability, which is grasping power, the power to problem solve, the understanding of memory, the way we can actually make tools, it becomes extremely high. However, if you go a little bit over, then it makes no sense. It will again make you a little bit cognitively lower. Now you imagine that it is this 1450 cc that gave us the power to do the industrial revolution. And the fact of the matter is, brain size is important vis-a-vis size. If brain size was the indicator, then elephants have the biggest brain, or whales have the biggest brains. but they are not like humans. The fact is, there is in nature, in natural selection, 1450 cc was considered to be the size at which the humans were smart enough to manipulate their environment. So it's the optimal level. It is the right, according to our physiology. If you go over and under, it mostly starts to mess up your cognitive ability. Cognitive ability is people who have low cognitive ability still have, yes. Oshin, don't link IQ with cognitive ability. People who have same, everybody in this earth except for certain people who may have birth conditions, everybody who has been born normally will have the same exact cranial capacity. Everybody has the same brain. It's how you use it, it matters. So it's like everybody has the same cranial capacity, everybody has the same brain development also. It's about how IQ is a separate issue altogether that is linked to your socio-economic condition, your education, and everything like that. The simple point which I'm trying to argue here is cranial capacity is important to understand humans. And why do we actually study cranial capacity? The reason is very simple. Cranial capacity is equal to cognitive ability, and cognitive ability is shown by humans in tool making. Now do you get it why we divide it as old stone age, middle stone age, and new stone age? Paleo means old, lithic means stone age, mesolithic, neolithic. Because throughout this period, the humans, specifically between old stone age and middle stone age, humans are showing better and better cognitive ability, which is represented in tool technology. So my study from Paleolithic to Neolithic is a study of humans, which is basically history, vis-a-vis understanding tools. In the dearth of not having any form of other source, the only source to understand humans in the initial phase is to understand their tools. So if as one of you said, Oshin said, if the ability to see how smart you are is based on who cleared UPSC, for example, or who cleared 12th board examination, then the reverse logic will also be true. If you have cleared 12th examination, means that you have a certain IQ. So we are using that reverse concept on humans, that if there are tools and tools are changing, this means that this shows a certain evolution in humans itself. So our window into this period, which is basically between 2 million BCE to 4000 BC, or rather 2600 BC, this 20 lakh years, close to 20 lakh years, we study through tools, because tools give us evidences along with other archaeological evidences of human evolution. And therefore understanding humans through their bones, their tools, is the study of stone ages. This is basically, if you've never read anthropology, this is called physical anthropology, which is the study of humans. Are we clear with regards to what I'm trying to do here? I could have easily said, okay, first theme is Paleolithic. Paleolithic means old stone age. In old stone age, we study tool technology. Tool technology was screwed in the upper, lower, and lower. No, I didn't do that. Rather, I'm trying to bring you to the logic of why do we study tool. So we are able to understand human evolution through tools because tools are a very important indicator of cognitive ability, and cognitive ability is an indicator of cranial capacity, and cranial capacity is an indicator of human evolution. So in a way, we've linked all these three things together. Now, do you tell me that is history all of facts? Have I told you any fact in the past 1.5 hours? This is all scientific, logical understanding. Whatever we do in history has a purpose, and that purpose is to understand human existence and human development. And our story starts at 2 million BC, and in dearth of any form of source other than skeletons and tools, we have developed a certain method through which we link the development of humans with tools in order to link their development as cognitive beings, and therefore evolution of humans can be understood through tools. And therein lies our beginning point. As a UPSC aspirant, I now have to teach you, or we have to start with the concept of Paleolithic, which I will do once I give you a break here. But the point is, no, history is not ratification. That is a school level. That is a problem. That you in the schools, they teach you in such a way that you basically die over history. But history is not ratification. It's not that there is no ratification. There's a lot to understand also. So very simply, till this point, BCE, CE, BCAD, evolution, and Y tools. We've discussed all of this. Anybody has any issue here? Because I'll repeat it through the PPT and then we'll move forward. Evolution, if you don't understand, doesn't really matter. It's just that you need to understand the correlation between tools and humans. That's it. Okay, now we've discussed why tools, because tools are a window to the evolution of humans, because tools are indicative of cognitive ability. So we've discussed prehistory, protohistory, history, which is only archaeological records is prehistory. Early writing and archaeological is protohistory, and writing and literature, the proper sources is history. Thereafter, we discussed how in Gregorian calendar there's a division of BC and CAD. Higher the value in BC, the further it is away from us. The higher the value in C, closer it is to us. So if you look at this, 2021 BC will be 4,000 years away from us, but 2021 C will be only 2 years away from us. Thereafter, when we talk about human evolution, India is a very, very privileged civilization that ways, because we have found in two places in India. Now, this is what you learn, which is that in two places at Hathanora and Odai, this comes in the examination. Hathanora and Odai are two places in India where we found Homo erectus skull. First was found by a person called Arun Sunakia. He found a Homo erectus skull in Hathanora, and thereafter, in 2001, in what we call as the Tamil Nadu sector, the Department of History of Kerala, P. Ravindran, was able to find in Tamil Nadu a small baby skull, which was also Homo erectus skull. So it's not that we have not found Homo family members in India. We found also others which are called Ramapithecus and this, but they are out. They are different families. This is Homo family in that sense. So we have evidences to show that we were linked to the larger story of civilizations. So Hathanora, Narmada Valley, Odai in Tamil Nadu. What was that 4,000? 2021 and 2021 BC and C. Can I say without my name, I am just human being? Sure. C and AD, same thing, yes. Sir, can people with genetic mutation maybe have birth low? Sure, that is what I said. If you're born with no issues at birth, then if you have chromosomal problem, genetic issues, that's a separate issue altogether. Certain children are also born with different cranial capacities because of birth defects. That's a separate issue altogether. Middle Stone Age is related to Anshu. When I'll teach you, then I will tell you. How only one single skull remain is left by Why not multiple at same place? Megha, this is 2 lakh years ago. The fact that we are finding a skull is a very big thing. Are bones perishable? Do bones degrade over a period of time? Yes. So that is the problem. Maybe there were lakhs of skulls there, but they disintegrated. This is the one only which is left. Bones perish over a period of time. Over lakhs of years, anything will perish. I will discuss. Kishan, you're using Holocene, Pleistocene. Don't use it like that. I have to discuss it in what context I use it. Homo erectus, Homo habilis difference is Homo erectus stands on 2 feet. Homo habilis does not. It stands on all fours. Human remains in India, Hathnora and Odai. Hathnora, Odai, 2 places. This map, if these type of maps which you will see are actually out of Upinder Singh. Upinder Singh is an optional level book, but it is useful here. Hathnora, Hathanora, Hathnora. Okay. Now I'll give you a break here. When we come back, we start Paleolithic. Archaeological remains are there. Tool technology and cranial capacity are linked. Evolution of tools are correlated to the development in cognitive ability, and that is why we discuss tools. So when we come back, we discuss Paleolithic. Can we do that? Everybody is on board with me till this point, no issues. We all are on the same page, no issues whatsoever. All of this was context, none of the questions are going to come from this area, but now from this point forward, everything is important. Can questions really come from this, what we studied till now? Sanskar, I'm saying the same thing. Except for Hathanora Odai, nothing will come. But it's like, can I teach you the polity without teaching you constitution? This was the constitution done. Now I will teach you what is history and specifically what is Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic. Homo erectus Oshin, Arun Sunakia, Homo erectus Hathanora. You want timeline slide? Yes, okay. Okay, so we come back at 7:50 and we take the story forward. Okay. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. Mega no network issue. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. Uh, we now start. Our main discussion, which is going to be the Paleolithic age. Now, Paleolithic period. Paleo means old. Lithic means stone. This period, 2 million BCE to 10,000 BCE. Yes, sure. When we talk about Paleolithic, the most important feature of the Paleolithic is something which even UPSC asked this time, that there is no issue, Anil, you watch it later, not an issue, is that it is in the what is called as the Pleistocene epoch of the earth. Now, Pleistocene epoch is something on which there's a whole cartoon series, and it is basically the technical term for ice ages. Technical term for ice ages. Ice ages mean Paleolithic is from 2 million, 5 million, same book. Again, Virender, now listen to me. Listen to me. In geological time, firstly, I am giving you the time period of Upinder Singh, which is the authority when it comes to UPSC optional. Second, in geological time, 1 million, 50 lakh years up down is like there. In some place, you'll find 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. It's about where you start. So, the time period UPSC will never ask you, as it is, UPSC never asks time period. But there are multiple dates you will find in multiple books. I am giving you the time out of the most authoritative book. You can choose to write whatever you want to write. As it is, you don't have to write answers. You just need to know it. So 2 million, 3 million, 5 million. I am starting 2 million with the logic that it is the period from which you start to get Homo habilis. Now, the Pleistocene epoch, is characterized by what are called ice ages. Yes, there are only 4 ice ages, but they are divided in this epoch itself. Because these ice ages are not for 2 to 3 age, it is for thousands of years. Now, very simply, if we are in the Pleistocene epoch, what is the median or average temperature of the earth today? What is the average temperature of the earth today? Average temperature of the earth. Not 26, not 24, not 30, not 35, not 37, not 18. Yes, Chaitanya, very good. Kovind, very good. Likhani, very good. 15 degrees Celsius. The average temperature of the earth today is 15 degrees Celsius. Taking all the poles, all latitudes together, it becomes 15 degrees Celsius. Now, the median temperature, the average temperature of the earth at this point of time is minus 20 to minus 30 degrees Celsius. Is minus 30 to minus 20 degrees Celsius. And basically, from time to time, there are certain periods of warming, but most of the Pleistocene epoch is a period of what we call as ice ages or very cold temperature. It is in the same period, Pleistocene epoch, that Homo erectus evolves into Homo sapien. and it is in the upper Paleolithic period in which it happens. Now, in order to explain this to you, I have to explain one thing to you. Okay, this is the ground level. This is the ground level, and I start to excavate. I start to excavate A, B, and C. This is upper, this is middle, this is lower. Temporally, which is time-wise, which is the closest to me? A, and the furthest away would be lower, C. So for the same reason, where you find the evidence, you define it as per upper, lower, and middle. And Paleolithic, in that sense, that is why it's divided into upper Paleolithic, lower, middle. And one more thing, you'll find in American and UK, you'll find different spellings also. One write Paleolithic and other like Paleolithic. Both are the same thing. So don't email me that what the spelling is wrong. It's the same exact same thing. One is in UK English, one is in British English, and the other one is in American English. Now, we have established, so the upper Paleolithic is the period in which Homo sapiens come into existence. We have established, now you see logical, I'm not going to ask you to learn anything, you see logically. We have established Pleistocene is very cold temperature and the ice ages will now dictate human and animal physiology. Can anybody tell me a marker on your body which is an evidence of the Pleistocene epoch? Can anybody tell me that? Yes, very good. Hair. The fact that we all have hair on our body, this is because of the Pleistocene epoch. They did not have hair like this, but much thicker hair. Humans and animals both had very thick hair, very thick body hair, basically like a fur. And basically over a period of time, we've lost the hair on our body because of the warming of the earth itself. And you should understand one more thing, that it's not that it stopped evolving. Homo sapiens, as of right now, that is the story, that is the norm of our existence, will keep on evolving. And as of right now, the children which are being born are also showing certain indications of evolution. For example, they're being born with bigger and bigger thumbs, because we as a civilization have now started to use thumbs too much. So we use our thumbs for phones, we use thumbs for everything. So that thumb is becoming bigger and bigger. We are also seeing children are getting bigger eyes because of the way we are using and consuming a lot of blue light and what we call as screens. And certain for example, old reminiscence of our past is the appendix. The appendix used to be an indication of how we used to actually process raw what we call as raw flora and fauna. That is not there. That need is not there, and now there are certain people who are not born with an appendix. So very simply, humans and animals are very thick and have a lot of body hair. Yes, the tailbone also. The body hair and very thick fur keeps both of them warm. So they can survive -30, -20 with the level of hair which they have on them. Now, the most important technology which humans were able to harness in this period was fire. Which is that these men and women had the know-how of how to develop fire and also how to sustain fire, which is called domestication of fire. Fire again gives them warmth and also allows them to cook the food which they are eating. Now, based on the environment, this is how environment is a deterministic factor in human evolution. Now, based on the environment, animals also have one more characteristic. The animals are big, furry, and hold a lot of fat. So the example of this would be the ancestor of the elephant, for example, the mammoth, the saber tooth, which is the uh, reminiscence or the past of the lions and the tigers. Mammoth, saber tooth, these are examples of big, very big, 10 times bigger than an elephant today, but very heavy and have a lot of fat. Fat gives you warmth. Now, these animals, because they are big and furry and heavy, their speed is going to be what? Slow or fast? Slow. So they're slow moving. So now the tools which were developed because cognitive ability still not up to capacity, are crude, rudimentary, and bulky. But from the upper to the middle to the lower, or rather it's the other way around, from the lower to the middle to the upper, there is an evolution in tools and show refinement as they evolve. See, at this point of time, tools are being made by hitting rocks with each other. And one thing is very clear, that these rocks are brittle enough to basically break on impact, but hard enough to kill something. But what these tools are basically called core tools. They hit a rock with another rock, and the core which comes out is what they use. Yes, obviously they have thumbs because there's Homo erectus. Now, initially they only use the core tool, but later they realize that what is more sharper is the flake. So that is why the initial tools which you will see in the lower Paleolithic period are very heavy, what are called chopping. to chop and remove the skin of the animal and to try to kill it through its sharp angle itself. So they're very heavy tools. They're called hand axe. The first axe which was developed was called the hand axe. That you have a axe like this which you hold by hand, hand axe. Hand axe, chopper, chopping cleaver are basically, they use the hand axe to kill, and thereafter once they've killed, they will use the cleaver and they will use the chopper chopping to break the bones and use the meat of the animal. But as we go on, the types of tools become better. You can see here that now they are not just using chopper chopping. They will start to use points. They will start to use burins. Burins is to drill a hole. They will start to use double-edged sharp tools in that regard. So they were able to see that if I'm sharpening only this blade, I can sharp this part also. They're called double-edged. And by the time we come to the upper Paleolithic period, we start to get very, very refined tools. Blades, scrapers for removing the skin, burins, and different types of points. So you can see, why do we study? Why do we study tools? Is because just by looking at these tools, we can see that they are firstly differentiating the tools itself, and they're becoming more and more sophisticated. They're becoming more and more sophisticated, which in itself is a very unique thing and a very unique characteristic. Don't have to remember any of these names. Nobody's asking you chopper chopping and this. I'm trying to show you something. I'm just asking you to understand that tool technology is indicative of human ability. That what upper Paleolithic Homo sapiens were making were very, very different from middle Paleolithic and lower Paleolithic Homo erectus. And that is an indication of cognitive ability. Now, in the examination, there are two types of questions which come. And you can see it here. I've given you a table also from early to middle to lower. And the simple straightforward point is, and see, I've here 2.5 lakh because I've in that 20 lakh years, I've gone to the point where we start to get tools itself. Hand axe, cleaver, chopper, flake, blade, point, burin, and chips. Large tools, now using the chips, and later they will become even more sophisticated by adding wood elements. So for the purpose of the examination, what comes are the characteristics. Are the characteristics of this period. Can I give you the characteristics? This is the slide which really matters to you for the examination of Paleolithic period. Now, generally tell me one thing. Every point which I've told you is linked to a logic of environment. Does it actually make sense or is it hard to understand? That means we move from lower to up. Makes sense. It's a logical understanding. So the first point is no, Chituri. You have first point, which is Pleistocene epoch, very cold temperatures, animals are big. I'm coming to society aspect, Sushmit, don't worry. I'm coming to the society aspect. Big and furry. Humans also heavy hair cover. Bulky, crude tools with rudimentary technique evolves through this period. Thereafter, third would be Fire was domesticated. So this is the conclusion. Yes, you don't have to first write a conclusion because there's no mains question. But these are the points which will be asked as statement-based questions in the examination. Or they can ask you match the following. Fire was domesticated by the humans. Fourth. Now these are two features which I will discuss with you separately. See, if there is limited food which is based on hunting and gathering societies in which people are hunting food and gathering in warm periods plants, whatever plants there are, can you have a big population? When the food resources are limited, can you have a big population? No. And very simply, there is small bands of people, with limited food resources. Warm periods you will find plants. You will not find plants in -20, -30. Is all ice with certain periods of warming, meaning 1,000 years of cold, hundreds of years of warming, then 1,000 years of cold. It means humans were evolving. Yes, humans were evolving even before the Paleolithic period, before the Pleistocene period. Yes, Australopithecus is before Pleistocene. Now, a very important point here is that when it comes to their habitation, they always remained in warm periods near water resources. See, when it is very cold, they can obviously melt the ice. But once it is warm, they would need water. So they always were near valleys or early rivers in that sense. So life expectancy could be from 1 year to 10 years to 100 years, doesn't really matter. Survival of the fittest. So the point is, with these 6 features mark the Paleolithic period. And the 6th point, I will demonstrate it to you also through a map. The point is Pleistocene, bulky, crude, fire, hunting, gathering. There's no political setup, no polity, no economy. And what we call them is a simple society. Everybody has a designated task. Everybody is doing that. And the best known technology which they know is fire and tools. Obviously, they are not, they're omnivores, not carnivores, omnivores. 4th point, last 3 words. Hunting gathering in warm periods. They gather plants in warm periods. Paleolithic period was Homo erectus, lower and middle, upper is Homo sapien. So the ice mesh and water, would they living be near? Yes, they used to follow the water in that sense. And we don't know too much, but the site profile tells us this only. Ilma, it is not that whole Pleistocene period is only cold. Earth was modulating in temperature. So there were maybe 10,000 years of cold, then 300 years of warm, then again 10,000 years of cold. That is called the ice ages, 4 ice ages which are called. Basically, they are modulating between the earth temperatures modulating. So there are certain periods in which it's very cold, they remain in caves, and in certain periods it's warm, they can come out of those caves. All genders has same role of hunting gathering. Sure, why not? There is no gender differentiation right now. Everybody helps in hunting, everybody helps in gathering. But hunting would be done by the tool makers, and gathering would be done by the people who have don't know the skill how to make tools. Point is, it's a simple society, no differentiation. Are we clear with these 6 points? Then I want to discuss the map of where do we find these sites in India, which is what is coming in the examination from time to time. Okay. So the sites which we find in India, as you can see, are mostly in valleys. Son Valley, Narmada Valley, Balan Valley, which is that these are old river routes. You also have in Rajasthan Didwana, but the most important site which you have to remember is this, Bhimbetka. Nobody has the capacity of learning all the name of the sites, but I can give you in Paleolithic an interesting trick. And the trick is that the Western Ghats and the alluvial plains of India, we find no sites. Cave art is not in Paleolithic period, Upper Paleolithic, it's more in Mesolithic period. We'll discuss that in art and culture, not here. Art and culture, part in art and culture. Now, tell me, why do we not find any sites in this sector? No sites in this area. Tell me why. Area is moist, river deposit, Himalayas, no rocks, forest, no stone. Himalayas not there. Himalayas were being formed. That is not true. Iron, earthquake prone hills, youthful age, water, Western Ghat, winds, plate tectonics, new geography, no knowledge of agriculture. That as it is, nobody has. No, Shank, don't have to. Sneha has given me the right answer for one. Janvi is also given me the right answer. Very good. Okay. In geography, you would have heard about something called the subsidence or the submergence of the Western Ghats. Have you heard about that? That we have a very good continental shelf in this area because this part went into the water. So if any site would have been there, this is the early stage of the Indian subcontinent geologically. So it could have gone into the water itself. Second is that the alluvial plains have not been formed itself. Himalayas will be formed, then the glaciers will start to melt. Once it will melt, then only the silt will be deposited as alluvial plains. So the point is that this whole sector is in the formation phase. So there may have been sites, but they're so deep into the alluvial plain that we can't find them itself. So very simply, it's not because of heavy population and agriculture. It's just because geologically these two areas are not stable. And they're not in their optimal way they should be. And that is why if there were sites, we don't find them. But for the examination, remember only two names, Didwana and Bhimbetka. You can do that. Two names. Got it? Everybody, come on. Yes, sir. Okay, very good. Done, sir. Now Paleolithic is clear. So in the examination, if they give you a statement-based question, consider the following statements. The age was marked by extreme cold temperature. Fire was domesticated in this period. You will be able to identify it. You'll be able to identify it. Yes, this is the purpose of this whole discussion. They'll sometimes mix and match, and that is what you need to know. Okay. Anjali, see, recent sites, Kurnool and all, you don't need to worry about until unless they're not being referred to in what context they've been referred in the news, in the NCRT, they have no purpose to you. In current affairs of history, understand, until unless it is not properly historically attested, nothing is journalistic based. So we have to attest what the evidences are saying. Archaeological evidences will be seen by historians. Historians will then put it into standard history, and that will come to you. Okay. World history was interesting. Must drama used to. This is also interesting later. This is the logical part. This is the logical part. Now we move to Mesolithic. That is the irony. If you start to enjoy world history over your own history, that means that world history is much difficult than this history. Much, 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 much different than this. Difficult than this is much easier, straightforward. This is your history in that sense. Okay. Ice age means ages in which only ice is there. Very cold temperature. Mesolithic age. Now, Mesolithic age is marked by the change in epoch from Pleistocene to Holocene. To Holocene. And this is the most interesting aspect here, that Holocene period is what we also live in today. 10,000 to 4,000 BCE. Holocene is the period in which epoch in which we are also today. Holocene is the period of warming. It is a period of warming, and the mean temperature comes to 15 degrees Celsius. So now what happens is, with mean temperature going down, Earth is warmer, greener, more flora and fauna. More flora and fauna. Now, animals in that sense, and both humans, start to give up evolutionary hair on body. So more and more species will come. If humans will evolve, the children which will be born without hair. So they are now, the need for hair is not there. But animals will now start to become smaller, less furry, and less fat. So if they become smaller, they will become what? Faster or slower? They'll become faster. So tools are useless and need to change. Because now you can't, if for example a early deer used to run at 4 kilometers per hour, 5 kilometers per hour in the Pleistocene period. Now they're very fast, 18, 20, 25 kilometers per hour they can run. So obviously a human is not going to firstly match that speed and also not run behind that animal. In geography, we learn as Earth is very, very hotter, how it is turned to ice age. Chandana, first write the question correctly, but I think you're messing things up. What you are doing is that Earth was cold, then it became hot, and it is becoming hotter, and that is why it's called climate change and global warming. So where does the cold come from? Pleistocene epoch is ice ages. Thereafter, the Earth has been severely warming up. Global warming, the development of the atmosphere, is good thing till a point. Global warming is the reason why Earth can sustain life, because of the atmosphere which traps in that carbon dioxide, that traps in that heat. Which is first? You tell me. Which is first? Ice age will be first, or hotter temperature will be first? Meaning I've shown you a whole table and now you're waking up from your sleep. When I showed you this table, this is the movement of that table is like this. So you, according to you, the Earth came first and the Big Bang happened second. Come on. Yep. These are small things. So the simple point is, first were dinosaurs, then came us. Pleistocene, Holocene. First, the Earth was very, very, very cold, then became hot and is becoming hotter. Are we clear with regards to this, Chandana? Because somehow you are not paying attention at that point of time, because this should not come as a surprise to you. I am going chronologically. I'm going chronologically. Why would I teach you the reverse of what happened? So the first there is Pleistocene, cold, then hot. Average and mean temperature, same thing. I'm not a mathematician. I really don't care what is mean, median, mode. For me, these words are the same. Average and mean, same thing. So we have established that the earth has become warmer, it has become greener, animals have become faster. If animals are becoming faster, chopping tools will make no sense. A human cannot run behind an animal with a chopper and then kill it. So now, based on the new impulses, because of faster animals, what you get. So if earth was cold, then how big bang happens? अरे बिग बैंग अर्थ पे थोड़ी ना हुआ था. Nirbhay, where did the big bang happen? $13.6 billion years ago, there was a big bang in the universe. Earth is the part of the universe. Universe is not the part of the earth. It's not the other way around. You would have done this in geography and science and technology. You haven't? You've done this in geography and science and technology? Then why is it there that by the time you come to history, you forget it? So I'm not going backwards now. I'm going to go forward. It's a very simple, straightforward point. Because of faster animals, there is a need for faster tools. And this will be the era of smaller and sharp tools, which are called microliths. And the best example, as you know, bow and arrow, spear, triangles on wooden sticks. Now, very simply, now what they're doing is that they're tying very sharp tools on sticks and then they throw it. So the age of Mesolithic is the age of microliths. They have now moved away from very heavy tools to smaller tools. So these triangles and the trapezes are basically put on certain projectiles which can be thrown. So from triangles and trapezes basically is the origin of arrows itself, to the blades, burins, and the things which we use. Now they are sharper, made out of better tools, better stones. Also, they were able to explore the stones, but more than that, they also are faster. This is the most important point you need to understand. That the need for smaller tools comes from environmental changes. So very simply, the refinement is because humans understand that. And this is called cognitive ability. The ability to understand that there is a problem. That is what is cognitive ability. Problem solving. I had a problem. I can't run with the hand axe. Problem solving. Make it smaller, tie it, throw it. This is the beauty of human mind. That whenever there is necessity, we innovate. So the Mesolithic period, the first most important feature is called the age of microliths. Now, tell me one thing, that can you logically link the evolution of microliths to the evolution of the earth? Is anything here happening illogically? What I'm trying to argue here is, use your mind and you will get the answer in the examination. Half of it is actually logical. Mesolithic is the age in which Earth is going to go into Holocene. Holocene will in turn mean faster animals. Climate change will in turn lead to microliths. Now, the next most important feature, and I'll write all of it down in one slide itself. Next most important feature is that, see, if animals are becoming smaller, there will also be animals which will basically become a little bit less scary, less ruthless, and less wild. In the sense that if you had wild dogs, they were very big. But now these dogs are becoming smaller. And if they're becoming smaller, they are now vulnerable to the bigger animals. Same way, for example, you will have cattle. Cattle used to be very big, but now cattle has become smaller. And this cattle is vulnerable to the animals. So what is going to happen is that through trial and error, and it's not that nobody wanted to domesticate a tiger. Somebody domesticated a tiger, an elephant, a crocodile, a snake, a cattle, a dog. The only point was the ones who survived were the dogs one and the cattle one. So they were able to do trial and error. This is happening over hundreds of years. Through trial and error, they were able to what we call as domesticate animals. Domesticate animals, which is called making animals pets. And in here, you had multiple examples. For example, sheep, dogs, cats. You also had certain types of wolves, cattle, etc. Now, what worked out was that some of them were manageable, some of them were not manageable. So there's domestication of animals. But the most interesting thing which happens, anybody has any issue in domestication of animals? It's a symbiotic relationship. It's a reciprocal relationship. Animals help in hunting and the animals get food. The animals are protected by the big animals, by the humans itself. So it's a standard thing, which is a reciprocal relationship. It's a reciprocal relationship of food and protection. Food and protection. Fishing was also there. Will start to develop. Fishing will also be there. Hunting gathering includes fishing also. It is still a hunting gathering society. Hunting and gathering. Now, third point is the most interesting one. In Paleolithic, no domestication of animals. Yes. Horses used for hunting, not the way you are thinking about it. Horses would have been there, but the people sitting on horses and hunting, polo, not like polo. I know what your image is in your mind. That is not the way it works. Now, third is the most interesting thing, which is that we, for the first time, start to find burials and rituals. Burials and rituals. First crop is not going to be right now, Neolithic, which I will discuss with you. Reciprocal relationship shows a symbiotic relationship, that the animals understood what is the relationship with the humans, and the humans understood the importance with basically that. Horses were introduced by Aryans. That is not a given. That is not a given. Indus Valley civilization has indications of horses. So that is not a given. This is standard Google type material you are quoting. That is not given. Now, this is the most interesting point, which is called burials and rituals. Yeah, no, Kunal, that is not true. Wolves were used for hunting, but dogs are a different species of wolves. So domestication of dogs is a separate issue altogether. Now, burials and rituals are important because, see, burials are a necessity. Because of hygiene. So again, trial and error for centuries. Maybe these humans used to leave the dead bodies on the wherever the dead body was. But if you leave the dead body in the open, what happens to it? Very good, Abhishek. Previously, Pleistocene was very cold. So the bodies did not used to decompose very quickly. Here, the bodies will start to disintegrate and decompose because it's warmer temperature. And if it is warmer temperature, it will firstly attract animals, but more than that, it will basically lead to spreading of diseases. Diseases will start to spread. So the easiest thing which they found was dig a hole and put that person in that hole, burial. However, that burial aspect till that point was okay. But in the later period, we started to see that in burials, these people used to put the tools of that person also in the burial itself. These are called burial rituals. Basically, the person is not able to figure out what has actually happened. For 1 second, you imagine that there, today we understand that that person is sleeping and that person is dead. Imagine that everybody sleeps and only few get up. So then the level of fear you will develop of sleep, that if you sleep, you will also not get up also, because there's no real difference between sleeping. You close your eyes and there you're closing your eyes also. So the level of fear which people used to have, that would have gone over period of time, understanding, okay, we are sleeping and that is death. Now, still, death was still something new to them. What happened to that person? Where did that person go? What is this concept? But what we see is that they were trying to figure it out. So, according to them, the person has gone somewhere. So, what they used to do is that they used to keep the tools of that person with that person. That if he's gone somewhere, he will may need his stones or his tools. These are called the first development of ritualistic practices, where we are trying to understand death, where we are trying to understand how does human existence is there. So try to understand this point, that everything which you take for granted today, that that person is dead, he needs to be done this. This is a thinking phase. They are thinking, they are trying to understand what is happening. So very simply, burials was a hygienic solution. But burial rituals, sometimes what they used to do is that I have a dog. I died, they used to kill the dog and put it with the person. That wherever that person has gone, that dog will also go. Whatever it may be, maybe it may be childish, it may be very dumb understanding of what we call as death. But the point is, they were trying to figure out next life, this life, what life, nobody knows. But there are ritualistic practices which are linked to burials, which is significant, which is basically showing you the first indications of religion. Because religion is going to be basically coming out like this only. That don't give me fundas out of scriptures. There's no scripture right now. It's all based on a certain rudimentary understanding of death. Are we clear? Are we clear? Okay. See, Egyptian pyramids are very late. Very late. We are talking about Mesolithic period. You are going to pyramids, which would be Indus Valley civilization. Separate issue altogether. That by time we have religion. Religion is the way you understand death and birth. Okay. Did they believe in otherworldly things? We don't know. We don't know, but just we know one thing, that burials used to also have burial goods, which means that people sometimes were thinking about a certain type of afterlife after death. That's it. There's nothing more, there's nothing less. It's not complicated. There's no janam, there is no yug, there's nothing. It's a very straightforward concept. Burials were a need of the hour, but burial rituals developed because it may be a certain type of understanding which they were developing about afterlife. Now, the most important sites, again, Bhimbetka remains important. One, then you have to remember Bagor. Why am I telling you to remember Bagor? Because Baghor is a site in MP. So UPSC plays with the words quite a lot. Where have we found Mesolithic sites in India? Thereafter, Chopani Mandu, and Langanaj are the four names which I want you to remember, along with Bagor and Baghor. Their location is immaterial to you, but these sites are now being sprinkled around in the examination. So a site can start as a Paleolithic site and can go up till Neolithic. A site can also show evolution. So Bhimbetka is a site which started as a Paleolithic site, then later became a Mesolithic site, and also will show certain Neolithic characteristics. So you don't have to remember what has been found, but you have to remember what are the sites. I'll tell you what to remember, I'll mark it. But basic sites need to be there. Baghor and Baghor both are Mesolithic. So very simply, that is not possible, Sushmit. Very simply, what is important to you is not even this, is characteristics. Can I now consolidate Mesolithic if we understand each and every point? Yes, see, everything is written on the PPT also. Holocene, age of microlith, domestic population, growth of population, semi-huts, burial rituals, written. But I'll write it down with you so that you can understand it better. What are we found at particular sites? That is of no purpose to you. That is an optional level question. What is found where is of no purpose to you. For a GS level candidate, just knowing the site is enough, and I'm not going to give you unnecessary information. Characteristics. Of Mesolithic. Now, the first characteristic of Mesolithic, and I'll give you a way of summarization in the end of the class, don't worry, how to actually remember these things. The first is timeline based, don't worry, is Holocene period, Holocene epoch, warmer temperatures, global warming, greener and more warm earth. More flora and fauna. Now, if there will be more plants means more food resources, means bigger populations. And third would be faster animals. So tools needed to change. And now microliths are developed. Age of microliths. Fifth, domestication of animals. And sixth, burials and rituals. Anybody, any issue in these 6 points? You will be able to differentiate between Mesolithic and Paleolithic. Microliths are small tools. Previously, it were bulky and heavy tools. Yes, sir? Okay. Now we come to the period which changed everything on Earth. It's called the Neolithic Age or the Neolithic Revolution. Now, previously, be it Paleolithic or be it Mesolithic, what is common to both? Is nomadic semi-nomadic life, hunting and gathering. Tools need to change, yes, less. If tools are small, how they hunt for far animals who are faster? Because the tools are faster. You can throw a projectile at a very high speed, which can kill an animal which is running. Okay. Now, Neolithic period is a revolution because of one major change, which is called domestication of plants, which you called agriculture. Now, please understand this point that domestication of plants is not a joke. It's a very, very, very difficult trial and error process through which you can come to domestication of plants, because you need to know the seeds, how much time does the seed actually take to germinate, then when can you harvest, what to do with it. Domestication of plants is a very difficult task, and that is why it took us from Paleolithic to Mesolithic to figure it out, and it took multiple years and generations of humans to develop the seeds and develop the technology to understand how you can actually domesticate plants. So very simply, domestication of plant is out of the context of being a very simple, straightforward technology. It is a difficult technology. But understand this point very clearly, that domestication of plants and agriculture is a tipping point. In physics, you would have done something called the left hand thumb rule and right hand thumb rule, right? Related to magnetism and all. You've done it? Left hand rule, Fleming's law, this and that. Okay. Now this is basically the left hand thumb rule of history. It's a left hand thumb rule of history, or it's a formula which will always be there and which will always lead to the same thing which you see here. Meaning that if agriculture will be there, there will be something more, and that triggers a certain chain reaction. And that chain reaction is domestication of plants. Can you plant a crop and then go away for 2 months and come back and harvest it? No, you have to be at the same place. So domestication of plants makes you sedentary. Sedentary means settled down. Settled agriculture and cultures. Now, sedentary life now means that, for example, this is the area. This is the area. And you have A, B, C, and D. 4 farmers. These are 4 early farmers. Now, what they do is that they produce. So, initially, what they will produce is called subsistence agriculture. 10 kgs, 10 kgs, 10 kgs, 10 kgs. Total population is 40 kgs. So one person eats 1 kg. So exactly what they need, subsistence agriculture. But what happens is that D somehow waters his plants more, and he is able to produce 20 kgs. And B uses a new type of seed and is able to produce 30 kgs. Now this 20 kg and 10 kg, what do you call this? Very good. This is called surplus production. Now, surplus production is not a good thing. See, I'll give you a very simple example. There are 5 friends who live together. 5 friends who live together. Everyone's income is 1,000 rupees. And when it comes to food, when they are ordering off Zomato, everybody contributes 50 rupees. So can anybody dominate in the order that I will have pizza today, everybody should have pizza? No, because contribution is equal, so power is equal. So there's no complexity at this point of time. There's no complexity. There's nobody who has more or less. But surplus production now gives A and D or B and D more than what is needed. And when you have more than what is needed, it creates a society of haves and have-nots. A person who has more, a person who has less. And in the same 5 friends, if one contributes more, maybe 3 times more, will he have more say in what the food order is going to be? Yes. Now, basically, surplus production produces complex societies in which there is social differentiation based on economic indicators. But the most important point is surplus production is the genesis of early political systems. Why? Because when you have too much surplus, for example, 100 kgs, power will start to get concentrated in certain areas, but then you need to redistribute this surplus, or you need to store this surplus. You need to take decision on this surplus. And therefore, there's a need for a decision-making body, and that is the genesis of early political systems. I am telling you the genesis of political science, which is that polity develops when there is surplus and there's need for redistribution of surplus. When you need a centralized authority which can take this surplus away from the people and redistribute it back, it creates a need for political power or need for political institutions. So the thumb rule is domestication of plants will lead to sedentary life. Sedentary life will lead to surplus production. Surplus production will always lead to complex society. Complex society can lead to what we call as need to reduce conflict and redistribute the surplus. And surplus redistribution will be the genesis of early political formation or rudimentary political systems. Complex society means socially differentiation. Social differentiation. So if you look at it, agriculture is a poison. Agriculture is a very slow poison. I will show it to you in Indian society or Indian context. Agriculture was a single-handed and is still the single-handed reason for all forms of social inequality in India. So very simply, the Neolithic age is the age of domestication of plants, and that is also the age of early political formations. Stratified society means people who have more, people who have less. Amongst the friends who have more income, more contribution, and the people who don't have more and less. So agriculture is a technology which changes everything forever. Domestication, surplus sedentary life, need for controlling and redistribution, rise of complex society and institutions, early state formation. This is a very important point you need to understand. Are we understanding this logical development? Are you understand where does for the first political system develop? It's not it's not rocket science, it's not illogical, it's not facts. It's a very interesting chain of events started by a certain change in the society itself, in the way it is. So it is the need of the time. Now tell me one thing, what will happen to tools? What will happen to tools? Concept of economy? No, it is still not. It's not based on selling it. It's about redistribution. So economy is not developed. Tool, very good. Agricultural or agriculture oriented. So you will find cells, plow. Now tell me one thing. Does a plant give you output of grains across the year? No. So the most important thing which the in tool technology which they needed to develop would have been what? Storage. How do you store? Pottery. Yes, very good. Need for storage. Pottery develops. Pottery develops. And this is in itself a very, very, very significant thing. That pottery became a standard thing which Neolithic had to produce. Now, one thing I need to tell you that Neolithic does not mean that one day everybody started to do agriculture. Neolithic means that hunting gathering is persisting, but people have now also started to do agriculture. It's not that one fine day now I have agriculture, we all stop doing hunting gathering. It's a slow transition over centuries. So when we talk about Neolithic, sedentary life, domestication of plants such as wheat, millets, barley, ragi, ground polish tools for agriculture, pottery, and complex societies. So the tools which you see here, are ground tools, which are called to basically make flour. You ground the grains to make it eatable. So from the plow to the sickle to the celt to the hoe, all of these things are now very simply linked to agriculture. And this is why you can see how environmental change and technological change can have a bearing on human existence. But now for the purpose of the examination, this has now come twice in the exam. What are the important sites at which we find agriculture in India? The oldest site in the Indian subcontinent, and I'm telling you one thing very clearly, when I say India and Indian subcontinent, everything is stone. No metal has been used till this point. Whenever I say India and the Indian subcontinent, it includes Pakistan, it includes parts of Afghanistan, it includes Bhutan, Nepal, Bangladesh, everything. Because Pakistan does not exist before 1947. So when I say that Mehergarh is the oldest Neolithic site in India, it is the oldest Neolithic site in India. And it is in what is called Baluchistan sector of Pakistan. And this site till today is considered the oldest evidence of agriculture in the Indian subcontinent. We found wheat here. At Kodhiwa in UP, we found the first evidence of rice cultivation in the world. In Mahagara, we found barley cultivation. You have to remember these names, very important. Mehergarh, Kodhiwa, Mahagara. Then you have Chirand, in which we find both rice plus wheat. But the most celebrated site till today, which has asked at least 2 to 3 questions, it has, even in history optional, it has come this time because it was in the news, is Burzahom. Burzahom is a site in Kashmir, and it is known for the concept of pit dwellings. Kashmir is cold or warm? Do Pakistanis teach IVC? Pakistanis, whatever they teach before 1947 is Indian history. Pit dwellings. It is cold. So when it is cold, you can't stay on the ground. So what they used to do, was to develop pits underground which used to trap heat. Pit dwellings is a very important single unique feature of Burza home. And multiple times in the examination, they've asked Burza home equals to pit dwelling. So at Burza home, we found the evidence of pit dwelling and also double burial, which is dog was buried with human. Pets have now been buried with humans. So Burza home, Kodiva, Mahagara, Chirand, and Mehergarh are very important 5 sites. Other than that, in South India, there's a very interesting thing. When we talk about South Indian sites, South Indian Neolithic sites, we find a very interesting feature which can be a very important tool of elimination for you. See, if I have a place for, if I have a society like this, and in this area I always burn fire. What is left when the fire is not there, when it is extinguished? Ash. So if for centuries, for 1,000 to 2,000 years, at the same point where at the same point, if fire is burnt or cattle dung is burnt, if I excavate that area, what will I find? What will I find? Very good. I will find a whole section of that land to be made of ash. So if I look at it from ground level, it will show something like this, that there's a whole section which has only ash, and these are called ash mounds. Ash mounds are one of the most interesting thing which we found in South Indian sites. These are columns of ash on the topsoil till deep, till 2 to 3, 5, 6 meters. In South Indian sites, ash mounds were the most interesting feature. Any site, if you find an ash mount, it is linked to this, it would have to be in South India. So ash mounds are a residual process of burning in a same area for centuries. So the South Indian sites, there is a very interesting feature, and this is going to help you in eliminating if the site is in south or north, is ash mounds. So in Karnataka, we have 2 very important sites, Brahmagiri and Maski. Why are they burning? Burning ritualistically maybe, or for just cooking food also. Andhra Pradesh, you have Nagarjuna Konda. Uttanur in Telangana. Tamil Nadu, you have Piempalli. Piempalli is very, very important that way. I have it on a map also, don't have to worry. These are the sites which are very, very important vis-a-vis that. And yes, in South Indian societies, there are certain societies, certain communities which burn a fire throughout the day in certain areas. And if you will do that, there will be ash mounds which will be created. Payal, nothing. When you start to excavate a land and you find column after column of gray, it is ash. Ash mounds are basically a thing which we find in every South Indian Neolithic site. Now, this is a NCRT map, so it becomes even more important. Burzahom, Mehergarh, Bhimbetka, Mahagara, Kodiva, Chirand. Daujaling, Hading is a very important site because it's a northeast site, which shows us that as early as this period, we have civilization in the northeast. We have Pempali here, and the word megalithic which you see here, don't worry, I will discuss megalithic when I'll discuss the period of Mauryas. I will discuss, they'll create a certain image in your mind. Burzahom is known for pit dwelling and double burial. That's it. It's a very cold site. That is why they needed to have pit dwelling. So when we talk about Neolithic, can I consolidate everything in one slide? And then we can talk about Chalcolithic, and then we can consolidate it to a master timeline and stop for today. Village formation will start, Anjali. Yes. South sides, Hulnur, Pempali, Maski, Brahmagiri, Nagarjunakonda. You want to see this? You will get this PPT. Why do you want to worry? Pit dwelling was for dead. No. People used to stay. Dead body, to that is a burial. These are columns which have been made. These are pockets in the under the subsurface to create warmth. They are called pit dwellings. Dwellings. Basement, you understand, it's a basement. Okay. Underground basement, you understand. The concept of basement comes from Buzahun. Okay. Neolithic characteristics. Neolithic characteristics is domestication of plants or agriculture develops complex sedentary society with surplus production third need for redistribution and early state formation agricultural tools and pottery fifth village semi-permanent huts and permanent settlements. And last but not the least, hunting gathering along with agriculture. Right? Are we clear? The things I'm highlighting, Chinmay, has to be remembered. Okay. That is Satya in the upper Paleolithic period itself. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Perfect. Now, till this point, we've discussed Paleo, Meso, and Neolithic. They're all called Stone Age because the only raw material which they knew was stone. Yes, Chaitanya. Sites plus characteristics equals to done. Perfect. If you can remember these two things, everything is done. Yes, religious practices is there. I'll write it down. Ritualistic practices still there. Ritualistic practices, but no proper religion. They're still doing rituals, but nothing more. Early state formation means any form of state or polity in its early. One man controlling everything, 5 men controlling everything. Early state formation. So raw material stone. But now we transition into a period which is called Chalcolithic. Chalcolithic means Chalco means copper. Lithic means stone. Rituals were there in the Mesolithic period, will persist in the Neolithic period also. Now, copper is introduced as the first metal ever used in the Indian subcontinent. But why copper? Why copper? Because copper smelts at a much lower temperature. Firstly, the area in which we are operating around now, which is northwestern sector, copper mines are more common. And more than that, even if they know iron is a very difficult metal to smelt. Khetri mines, yes. However, copper isn't. Copper smelts around 1500 degrees Celsius, while for iron you need 2500 degrees Celsius. So that is why it was easier to adopt copper. Chalcolithic, now understand this point, Chalcolithic period in the Indian subcontinent, which is close to 2600, 1700, and certain areas it will go up to 800 BCE also, which you see here. In certain areas it will go up till 700. It's on the area which we are in. Let's take it 3000 round figure. Chalcolithic period in India manifested itself in two forms. One is Indus Valley civilization, which is also called the Harappan civilization. And basically, this is also a Bronze Age. Bronze is an alloy of copper when you add nickel and tin, but it is a subset of the Chalcolithic age. A lot of students tend to talk about Chalcolithic, or teachers also tend to talk about Chalcolithic separately. Chalcolithic is the umbrella term. Under that you have Bronze Age, Indus Valley civilization. But there are also what are called non-Harappan Chalcolithic cultures. Basically, there's a whole set of sites which are found in this sector, which together exhibit urbanization, exhibit very, very, very similar culture. On the other hand, other than that, in interior India, we also had other sites or other cultures which were not connected to the Harappans. Culturally, maybe trade wise they would have been, culturally they aren't, and they exhibit their own cultural understanding. And these are called non-Harappan Chalcolithic cultures. Now, you just have to remember the names and the most important site of these cultures. Other than that, nothing more. So, the first is called the Ahar culture or the Banas culture, based in Rajasthan, and it will be the closest to the Khetri mines. So a lot of copper tools were found in this area. They are contemporaries of the Harappans. They exist along with the Harappans, but they don't exhibit the urbanization, the civilizational scale of the Harappans in that sense. So the Banas culture is the first one. Ahar is the most important site. Then you have the Kayatha culture, and it is named after the site of Kayatha in MP. Very important again, near the river Kali. Kali Sindh as it is called. Then you have Malwa culture. This is one of the biggest in that sense. And in this you have 3 to 4 sites together. Navda Toli means the Toli of fishers. So Navda Toli is the most important site in this area. These boatmen used to use fishing quite a lot, and copper has been found from them. And the last is the Jware culture, in which you have Jware, Nevasa, Sonegaon, Inamgaon, and Chandoli. These 5 together exhibit the same type of culture, but not like the Harappans, and therefore, they are also non-Harappan Chalcolithic. Meaning, in these sites we have found copper plus stone, and also new thing was bone. Bone is that you started to use bones also of animals as a form of tool making. So they all exhibit the same features: limited use of copper, implements limited urbanization. Bones, except for Ahar, very limited use of copper also, and rice and social stratification. So when it comes, these are parallel, yes, these are sites which parallelly exist to the Harappan civilization, which we discuss tomorrow. The Indus Valley civilization is the most important site for us. We have to discuss that tomorrow. But these are sites which existed parallelly. Think of it like how India exists and for example, Bhutan exists. So we have the Harappan civilization, and these are smaller civilizations which are there. Bones were used in the Mesolithic, but in this period, there's a ubiquitous increase in the bones itself. So there's a limited use of urbanization. See, the UPSC loves Indus Valley civilization because it is the grandest of civilizations which could be there. I'll tell you a difference between civilization and culture. Culture is like you all are my students. So you tend to develop a certain culture. That is because you are interacting with me. We have our own culture. But now, if we have one whole city exhibiting the same culture, it becomes a civilization. It's a scale thing, civilizational scale and cultural scale. So these are cultures, smaller area, but very homogeneous that ways. Harappa is a civilization. Advanced cities connected with each other. Harappan civilization will exhibit trade. It will have internal, external trade. Both. It will be a large civilization. From the length and the breadth of empire, you will have standardization also, which we'll discuss tomorrow. But before I stop for today, I want to summarize what we've done. Is Chalcolithic clear? Chalcolithic, this I will discuss with you tomorrow. This I've discussed with you. This I will discuss with you tomorrow. But are we clear with regards to why is it called Chalcolithic and why are they called non-Harappan Chalcolithic? Because they are all Chalcolithic, but they don't exhibit any of the features of the Chalcolithic itself. Perfect. If that is the case, let me summarize everything and we then break for today. See, if you can remember this slide, then my task is done. Since the morning I've discussed with you AD, BC, BCE, that is for theoretical knowledge. I've explained to human evolution, again, you theoretical knowledge. I've told you what is prehistory, that also theoretical knowledge. And then I've taught you Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. Chalcolithic Shiva can exist in certain parts till very late also. But it's most of the major sites were disintegrating after 1700. But they exist. Irrigation is also there. Irrigation, yes, is also there. With agriculture, irrigation will automatically come. Okay. Sir, as per schedule, there is an environment ecology class that will start in today's evening, but there is no class. I know that, Chituri, there's an issue. They have not scheduled the class. I've indicated it. By the evening, you will get the class. Don't worry. By the evening, it will start to show in modern India also. Okay. You don't have to remember evolution. Nobody's asking you Australopithecus and all. Nobody's asking you that. Okay. Now, please pay attention. If you can understand this, then you can understand anything. Harappa is part of Chalcolithic. Chalcolithic is a bigger term. Copper plus stone. Bronze is a copper alloy. So it is a bronze age is a subset of Chalcolithic age. You have Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, Chalcolithic. Now, 2 million BCE to 10,000, 10,000 to 4,000, 4,000 to 2,600, 3,000. We'll take it as maximum 1,000 BCE. Thereafter, simple, straightforward. No state, no economy, hunting, gathering, simple society, Pleistocene, bulky and rudimentary. This is how you revise. This is how you revise. I'm making notes for you. Bulky and rudimentary. And last but not the least, fire. Thereafter, no state, no economy. Yes, there can be overlaps. There can be overlaps. There can be overlaps between these periods also. Neolithic and Chalcolithic, there's overlap. I'll show you one more overlap and I'll teach you South India. No economy, hunting and gathering. Understand this point. There's no clear-cut distinction, not proper distinction. There is always overlap. These are periods based on archaeological evidences. There will always be overlap. Domestication of animals, microliths, burials and rituals, bigger population. Neolithic is, this is okay, Holocene, warmer temperature. Neolithic, agriculture, no. Agriculture, surplus production, sedentary life, complex society, early state formation, pottery and agri tools. But important point, no trade. This is non-Harappan Chalcolithic, agriculture plus hunting and gathering also. Agriculture plus hunting and gathering. And in areas near contemporary started around 10,000 because they started agriculture around the same time. See, Amrit, the point is 10,000 to 4,000 is also a very open period. In certain areas across maybe across Europe, in a places for example in the Euphrates and Tigris phase, 8,000 BC also they already have agriculture. So these are only estimated for the Indian subcontinent or also very rough estimates. They all intersect. There could be a place in which in one area in India there could be a scenario. In one area you have a Paleolithic, in one area you have Mesolithic, in one area you have Neolithic, and in one area you have Chalcolithic civilization. They all exist. It's about where are they in their evolutionary phase in that sense. So it's not a progression, it's a evolution. Try to understand this point. Evolution always happens with contemporary civilizations being there, survival of the best of them in that sense. Okay. Hunting gathering, early state formation, complex society. But the most important point for them is use of copper as a metal. Bone also used. Yes, Middle East, in Iran, Iraq sector, it is 8,000 BC. But that is of no purpose to us. Now, everything which is written on this screen is clear to everyone. Bone is used, rather than using wood, you use bone. That's it. Burin, use it as a bone. Done. So we stop here today. I hope that you now understand that history is not just all about sites is sites. Sites you keep separately, learn it separately. The simple point is history is not just about facts, it's a logical flow of things. Actually, you will understand. Everything is logically linked to each other. And this is your history. The more we will go forward, the better we will become in understanding. From this, we will move to Indus Valley civilization. Tomorrow, we will also discuss Vedic age. And by the time we come to Friday, today is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we will be nearing the rise of the first major power in India, which is Magad and Ajat and Bindusara. So we'll discuss these things. So this is the history of how India became what it is. I hope that I'm teaching in the right pace and you are following what I'm trying to teach you. These are very complex things, and it's not that it is actually very easy. I'm trying to make it logical because then your fear of or your apprehensions about history will change. And history is more interesting than what you actually think. And the more you will get to know about it, the better you will understand. Mains question, Megha, why will I give you when there is no mains question which comes from ancient itself? So I'll give you a prelims question. We'll do previous year questions also. Don't worry. Just trust the process and you will realize that it will be a topic which will become rather your strong point than your weak point. Yes, Harappan, non-Harappan would be, all of them are Harappan civilizations, exhibit same culture, the others don't. So if you don't have a question, thank you so much. We start our journey. By the time we end this journey, you would have done Bharat Darshan, we would have gone through art and culture, we would have done a whole lot of things. And by December, we'll end this course, and every morning we'll meet like this, and we will discuss a certain aspect of our own civilization, which is the Indian civilization. So yes, in the evening I should start Modern India. I will make sure that that class is also scheduled in your dashboard. Do meet me if you want to do Modern India in the evening. As always, 5 p.m. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye. If you don't have a question, you can leave. If you do, I can still take questions. Chaitanya, I know that there was a server issue glitch yesterday. Because of that, recording is not there. That will come. That will come up. We are resolving that. Perfect. Is there any mains question from this topic? No. Ancient medieval, we will for all purposes take it as a prelims oriented topic. And when you understand this, art and culture will automatically become easy to understand. So these women are evolving in each part of the world. Yes, every world has its own ancient and evolutionary prehistory. Ilma, send me an email. I'll get you connected to the mentors. Mondaro is yes. Mondaro, Harappa, all are these are Harappan civilization. So Neolithic, Chalcolithic period are interlinked. Yes, why not? These are evolutions to each other. So they can be in between also between these two. Why there's no polity? Because for polity, agriculture and surplus is important. When there is a very small society, everybody is having what is they're doing. Surplus is the problem. Once surplus is there, then automatically you will get polity. Vanshika, you stick to what I'm giving you in the PPT. Don't make notes. This is more than enough. Yes, Megha, will discuss that. You have to discuss you have to learn the sites which have been marked in the class. Yes, in the phase by manner over a period of time. Familial Abhishek issue, a familiar concept is not clear till we don't get textual evidences. There would have been, but was it really the way families are? That is not clear. Okay. See you in the evening if you're starting Modern India. If not, tomorrow morning. Take care. Bye-bye. Hunting gathering, there cannot be ever surplus. They are already short of resources.